Okay, this is the examiner's report for June 2012, commenting on analysing speech in L2. Okay, so some students opted for an overgeneralised approach lacking in identification of features and analytical detail. Some responses clearly identified features of speech or style but offered generalised commentaries on the text and failed to offer evidence or analysis. Some of you keep doing this, so you're not including quotes or you're not analysing enough. Those are things that you have to do in your response to get anywhere close to the actual marks you're going to want. An overgeneralised approach. This would be looking at aspects of context, audience and purpose for far too long and just focusing on that without close analysis of the extracts given. It was evident that many students are still spending too long writing protracted and often mechanical accounts of each text's audience, mode and purpose. Although we've made quite a bit of this in the introduction, it should still be concise. I've talked about this in other videos and that needs to be cut down. It is also advisable to avoid spending time commenting on features that are not present in either of the texts. Some of you are still doing this, so you're looking at adjacency pairs in one and then saying that they don't exist in the other because it's a prepared or an edited speech. It's not appropriate to say that, and it's not actually analysis that's going to get you any marks. Yes, it's a good spot and it shows that you're aware of the different contexts of each extract. However, it's not going to get you any marks in the analysis or comparison stakes. Okay, most students could identify speech features accurately and give appropriate examples, but not all solve the problem of how to avoid writing a list, usually because they offered only the barest and most general of explanations, e.g. an overlap is when one person speaks while another is still speaking. Don't explain what a terminology is. Apply it, find a quote, context. Apply it, find a quote, context. That's all you need to do all the way through. Don't explain what a terminology is or in general. It needs to be in relation to the context. The best answers integrated them into a discussion of attitudes. As usual, language comparisons were much better than the comparisons of structure. So don't neglect structure. It's just as vital and just as important to the analysis of the extracts. Discussion of attitudes has been mentioned before in other videos of examiners' reports. A discussion of attitudes is vital, so think about how your speakers are feeling and how they use techniques to try and get their points across. Okay, most students dealt successfully with the different views of Sonia and Rebecca and related them sensibly to the relaxed social context, but some were tempted into wasting time speculating at great length about who was dominant and how long they had known each other, which ranged from just met to out of school together. Occasionally there was an attempt to discuss who was dominant in text B and whether they presented different attitudes, which was equally unprofitable. Dominance, don't get too hung up on it. If you spot it and it's relevant when you're talking about interruptions or turn taking, then mention it. Otherwise, don't look into it. In terms of how an audience know each other, you can pick up on different attitudes, such as a sense of awkwardness between them, but you shouldn't speculate about how they know each other unless you're told, because you're going down a long track there that could be a whole range of scenarios. Okay, so of some concern was the number of students who were ill-prepared in terms of accurately identifying word classes or using them to assist linguistic or stylistic analysis. We have done work on adjective, adverbs, nouns, verbs in L1, and you should still be able to spot those. If you feel you're struggling with this, there is a handout in the L1 section on the website, and also in the box in the classroom from L1. You should use this to check that you can identify them. So use it in conjunction with your other terminologies, have a look at some extracts from past papers, see what you can identify, see if you can think about the effect. Disappointingly, many students, while being reasonably secure about speech terminology, showed serious lapses in ordinary word classes, many citing the verbs hate or love as abstract nouns, or occasionally adjectives, and thinking that passionate was a noun. Far too many quantities of pronouns, choosing to list with examples of the use of first and second and then third person in both texts and leaving little time to discuss any other features. Some of you have done this in the past. Don't get hung up on any one feature. You should look across all features and identify them all. Okay, so with regards to the texts themselves, most students seem to be more confident when analysing the stylistic and linguistic features of text A. A lot of you still doing this, so you're spending a lot longer on text A than text B and showing a lot more confidence with spontaneous rather than prepared speech. So take a look at prepared speech a little bit more, analyse them a little bit more, and see what else you can spot. Students seems capable of discussing and comparing the attitudes and how they are conveyed in each text, although for the weaker students there was a tendency to repeat the same attitude rather than offering new ideas. Think about different ways in which you can express somebody's attitude. It won't be that they have hatred for a subject all the way through, and there will be slight nuances within this that you should try and spot. There was a great deal of confusion around tag questions and rhetorical questions, and asyndetic and syndetic listing, students often identifying them inaccurately. So take a look at these. If they're commonly confused, you may well be confused with them. So tag questions and rhetorical questions, as well as asyndetic and syndetic, but I think we should be okay with both of those listings now from using them in Unit 1. However, more successful students offer detailed comparisons involving structural differences, variations in lexis, and comparisons of attitude, thereby revealing good insights into the differences between prepared and spontaneous texts. Grice's maxims has been mentioned again. Don't go near it. It's not useful for this exam. If you see it in any other revision website, ignore it. Okay. So compare attitudes, compare a range of features, detailed analysis, quotes to support each one. So make a point about attitude, pick a quote that reveals it, add in some terminology and consider the effect. Then compare with text B. It might be that you look at the same terminology in each, or you look at different. Each paragraph will be slightly different each time. And okay, I think that's everything. I've been through all the examiner's reports now and talked you through them, what is meant by it, giving you extra hints and tips. So it would be worthwhile watching all of these, just so that you have a really good knowledge of the same mistakes which keep coming up in each of them. Okay.